it that it wasn't personal? And every time you lied to me, it's like I didn't want to see, cause I thought you were beautiful, and beauty doesn't want to be mischievous and devious and set a fire unto us, but you were never beautiful at all. I wasn't fine to begin with, walked all those lines to begin with, but you forced me to work on myself because you put me through hell. I guess I should thank you for that. I'm okay, but it was a real close call. It went from a walk to a crawl. Had to tear down the Berlin Wall. I was panicking, but hey, I guess that I survived you. And that shit was hard to do. I've had every shade of blues since I met you. I think that I'm over it, but then I see you out again, laughing with the group of friends. There he is, you're holding hands, makes me feel pathetic and a little bit erratic. So I drink till I can't stand, and you know I won't confront you, even though it's all I wanna do. Probably best to just ignore it, both impossible and true. I wasn't fine to begin with, walked all those lines to begin with, but you forced me to work on myself because you put me through hell. Thank you for that. I'm okay, but it was a real close call. It went from a walk to a crawl. Had to tear down the Berlin Wall. I was panicking, but hey, I guess that I survived you. And that shit was hard to do. I've had every shade of blues since I met you. She loves me now. The petals hit the floor. What you get is what you got when you can't pull no more. I'm okay, but it was a real close call. It went from a walk to a crawl. Had to tear down the Berlin Wall. I was panicking, but hey, I guess that I survived you. And that shit was hard to do. I've had every shade of blues since I met you.
When I look back on all the years it's taken to get to the point that I'm at right here in this place. New York City hasn't changed a bit, but I can honestly say that it's changed the way that I live. I used to wonder, where would I end up? Do I chase the dreams that I have, or do I settle? But life's too short, and the clock keeps ticking down. I woke up one day and I put a different head on both my shoulders, cause I always had it wrong. If life's what I make it, then I better make it count before I'm too far gone. Thought I'd drive to a brand new city where no one would know my name or be talking about me. But that changed when I figured out that no matter where I go, they won't shut their mouths. Don't really care what they have to say. No, I won't let anything get in my way. 'Cause life's too short, and the clock keeps ticking down. I woke up one day and I put a different head on both my shoulders, 'cause I always had it wrong. If life's what I make it, then I better make it count before I'm too far gone. I won't get blinded by the lights. I'll keep going, won't change my mind. Only got one chance to fight. Do I chase the dreams that I have, or do I settle? 'Cause life's too short, and the clock keeps ticking down. I woke up one day and I put a different head on both my shoulders, 'cause I always had it wrong. If life's what I make it, then I better make it too far, God.
Welcome in, everybody, to the Anti-Stall Racing GT3 series here, race number 9 from Road America. I am here, one of your commentators for the evening, new to the league, but I'm sure, as always, the league itself will provide some amazing racing, and I will take you along through it. We are at, as I said, the wonderful Road America, and I'm going to be honest, this is one of the leagues that, one of the tracks at least in America that I rate quite highly. Kevin has a question in there when he was talking about what our favorite American track was, and I will say, out of all of them, Road America, Road Atlanta, Watkins Glen, Sebring, all absolutely incredible race circuits. But I feel like a lot of people talk a lot of rubbish about one in particular. That is the Circuit of the Americas. Bit of a controversial opinion, that one, but you know, one that I feel like needs to be said, needs to be thrown in there. But enough talk about all that nonsense. Let's talk about what we're actually here for. What we're here for is to talk about the racing here, the championship that's incredibly close. I'm sure you guys have been following along naturally, and indeed, when looking at the championship standings, we do have two that are incredibly close. Currently tied on points after the last round that we had, which was at Road Atlanta, if you guys can remember. We will have 325 points for both Luigi and Oystein. And so car number 7 and car number 37, both on track here today, have to very much keep an eye out for that one, because I'm going to be honest, it is going to be an insanely close battle between the two of them. Qualifying right now is running, but let's run you through the championship standings as it is for the moment. Currently, Andrew Wolf there with third place after the two who are tied on points with 319, followed off by David Kontos, who is fourth with 318 points. Leon Erger in fifth with 315 points. Hakon there in 6th with 285. Ryan P. Martin there in 7th with 269 points. Adam Hedgecock in 8th with 251 points. James Ellis, 226 points. Rick Hansen there rounds out your top 10 with 202 points. And one thing to keep in mind regarding the points, anybody in the top 9 currently still can mathematically win this championship. Now, I don't know about you, but that sounds exciting. 9-way fight for P1. I'm down for it. But let's get on into qualifying here. 25 minutes has indeed gone by for now. 25-minute session, 3 minutes of which has gone by. And currently, 2-minute laps around here, sort of qualifying pace-wise. I'd imagine we're looking at sort of 2 minutes 4, 2 minutes 5, maybe a little bit quicker, but we'll have to wait and see as the times come in. At the moment, Davide Favaro, I believe, will be the first one to set a lap time, though we will have to double check on that one. Currently setting the fastest sectors, but I don't think is the fastest currently on track because I believe he's just the first one going through them. And indeed, he does set that 204.013 that I did think was going to be the qualifying pace. We've got to see if anyone jumps into the 203s, maybe even the 202s here. Going to be quite impressive to see. Van der Linden there in second, 5/10 off on his first flyer. I'd imagine we're going to see as Hakon indeed decides to show us all what a true lap is here, goes into the 203s, but yeah, we will have to wait and see just exactly what it's like around here in this car and in these tricky conditions. We saw earlier that the track temp very, very warm indeed, and with the new tires, the new updates that we have to the tires in iRacing, naturally as a progression from what was going on with the whole Spa fiasco. I'm sure a lot of you have very much been told about that, and if you were watching any of it, you know exactly what I'm referring to. But yeah, I mean, naturally, people are saying that the tires themselves are a lot more slippery this time around, and it is proving to be quite a challenge, actually, to get your car around here in a quick time. So, keeping on as is currently in the qualifying championship and the qualifying battle even, there are points in qualifying, and those points could shake up the entire championship fight. I mean, you know, if you're tied on points, naturally, if you qualify ahead of the person you're tied on points with, that could be all you need to swing the championship round in your favor. And Luigi definitely trying to prove that. Do we think the new hot fix that makes grass slipperier will have an effect around turn 7 where they usually dip a bit into the grass? I mean, I think, obviously I haven't had a chance to drive it yet. I haven't really had much feedback from the drivers yet, so potentially we can get someone in about that one. Maybe just talk a little bit about it. But potentially, maybe, it will just make people a bit more aware that touching the grass isn't actually a good thing. So potentially you may see a bit of a wiggle getting on for some drivers, some other drivers not having the greatest time. But it's all something that I'm sure we'll get used to. And as commentators, obviously, we're going to be looking for those little dips of tires just to make sure and see whether or not the car reacts any differently from how it used to. Yeah, I think it's going to be one to watch over the course of the next couple of weeks, see how it develops. See if anyone figures out whether or not it is actually still relatively similar from how it used to be. And currently in qualifying, everyone still is incredibly close within that top 4. When you look at the top 4 separated by only 0.2 of a second, near enough. I mean, it's absolutely insane. This championship as close as it always is. And I will say, some of these cars, honestly, they just look absolutely incredible.
Don't they just? Some absolutely stunning. I'm happy that what they've done with the iRacing patch. I wanted them to immediately respond, and by what they've done is making the grass bits that sound like the best. That's how it should be, really. The grass should be slippery. You shouldn't want to be there at all. So, I don't think anyone will be touching the grass. If there was a line where they used to touch the grass, they're about to learn very quickly they can't anymore. But it's only going to make the drivers have to focus a bit more and stay within those white lines, which is what everybody wants.
Yeah, exactly. You know, the track limits are defined by the white lines, right? Like, that's where they should be. That's where you should stay.
Could make that quick right-hander quite tricky, though, because naturally I feel like you go pretty far off to the left, don't you? Use all of that curb, and I think you do cross a bit. So that's going to be a big one to watch out for in the race is an hour long. People are going to, at some point, probably clip that by going a bit too fast through there. So, yeah, this could be a tricky corner throughout this race for an hour's worth, as David gone a little bit quicker, so they're in the mid to low.
Say just a little bit.
Yeah.
203.4. Not sure where he found that pace from, but that BMW looks strong around here. But yeah, I mean, look, it's one of those things that naturally, when there is an update regarding things like, for example, like a tire change or like a chassis change to some of the cars, right? Everyone is like, okay, that's gonna like be like, we need to like really just like dive in deep about it and just learn exactly where we can and can't go anymore. Obviously within iRacing, you've got lots of different surfaces around the track. You know, you've got your standard asphalt, you've got your grass on the sides, you've got sometimes even sand, sometimes even AstroTurf, for example, on the exit of the final corner at Fuji, right? Lots of AstroTurf on that side that you can run on. It's very slippery, but you can do it. It's not recommended, of course. But, you know, there's all these different surfaces, and I think that, obviously, as a driver, your whole point, right, is to, can I get around this track faster than the other guys? And by doing that, you want to try and find any advantage you can. Obviously, I'm not advocating for abuse of track limits, but hey, if it happens, it happens. Right?
Yeah, they naturally will push the limit, so you can't. Oh, that's a new car I haven't seen before, Richard. That's a lovely. Would you call that a green? Yeah, can we all agree that's a green or yellow? Thinking car number.
Yeah,
yeah, that green.
It's like that brawn highlighter yellow.
Oh, it's lovely.
You remember?
Yeah.
You remember that brawn yellow?
Was that yellow? I always thought it was green. You know.
Yeah, that was a highlighter yellow. Come on.
Was it?
Of course it was.
Or an luminous green, maybe.
I honestly, we need to get word from the man JB himself.
Yeah. Does he think it was
Button,
yellow or green?
If you're in it, if you're listening, how about you tell us? Was it green or was it yellow?
yeah. They got Monster Energy spot. They have a green logo, so I'm gonna go green. Make it all fit.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I think that was green. That color there was. It's a lovely color. You don't see that often.
No.
That looked really. Kevin says yellow. Yellow to what? Yellow to what we just seen, or the brawn? Because I'm intrigued now, because I definitely think that. Or there was both of them green.
You're just a green man. That's just
I do like green. It's a good color. That.
Also from Kevin asking who we're putting the commentator curse on today. Now, I have a little bit of a story actually. We're getting into story time here in the middle of qualifying. Probably not the best place to do it, but you know, there's always a little bit. You guys know a bit more about me. I can learn a bit more about you. But there is a wonderful thing that tends to happen whenever I join either commentary or in races, where cars that I'm currently watching seem to somehow always end up having issues within about 5 minutes of me joining them. It's pretty consistent. So the commentator's curse is going to be everyone in this race. Maybe something that we should not publicly say, but you know. The Carlos Sainz of the ASR is secretly listening to this right now and going, yes. But yeah.
Just racing across the line there. James Ellis and Thomas. So just putting the line together in qualifying. That's always an interesting one to do. The start to the day, just immediately racing.
I mean, look, if you want to race in quali, there's nothing to say that you can't, right? You know,
Yeah.
Get a bit involved.
If you really want to go and do it, yeah, why not? Gerard says the track map looks like a flexing bicep. We have this thing where we look at every track map and we try and decide what it looks like. Like Catalunia's a steering wheel. Which one was a fish?
Mm-hmm.
Hungaroring's a fish with his mouth open. and now this
Okay.
is apparently a flexing bicep, and I can really see that. Yeah, it's a bit broken, but it's somebody's flexing at us.
It's like someone flexing after like a UFC fight, right?
Yeah, they've broke his arm a little there.
Yeah. He got put in an armbar, didn't tap out, but still manages to win the fight and ends up flexing it.
Yeah, that's what's happened there. I agree with that. That's good. That's good. I like that. That's how I'm gonna remember Road America.
Yep.
It's a broken flexing bicep. That's the way to remember that one.
It's also like Spa as an Uzi, you know? That's,
Yes, it
that's
is.
how
Yes.
people remember
Yeah,
that one.
yeah, fully. Agree with that. Lovely
Yeah.
service out there.
I guess one thing we should discuss actually, Wes, just while we're here, is there anyone at the moment in qualifying who has impressed you thus far?
In this current qualifying, at this exact moment, I'd say, as it continues to change, as both of the altitude esports cars use their slipstream as always, and both improve on their times. Ryan Martin, actually, he's up there in third. He's doing well. He's up there in the standings, but last time out he had a bad race and he wasn't happy with how he performed or the car performed. He's doing well, I'd say, right now. P3 fighting the rest of them. Yeah, that's a good showing from Ryan, I'd say.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Ryan is currently 7th in the championship, so still in contention to win if the points go his way. Obviously, it will require Luigi and Oystein to maybe not have a great race, or Andre to also not have a great race. But, all is to play for sure. It is, absolutely all to play for. And just as I say that, Oystein and Hacken both improve.
Yeah.
So, seems like everyone is trying to take it away from Ryan at the moment.
Yeah, they're all. The thing is, here we've got a few teams out there, and like Oyster and Hacken know each other well. They're not a team, but they do seem to, in qualifying, always find each other close together. Luigi and David will be close together. Ryan and Adam will be doing some slipstream as well. There's a few people out there who will be trying to help each other out. Yeah, it always seems to happen, and it does work. We've seen it work well so far this season, and yeah, points are on offer for top 5 in qualifying. So at the moment, who will be leading the standings going into the race? Oyston will be, won't he? He'll be leading the championship as we enter the race.
Yeah. And being in 2nd place obviously means he's going to take actually quite a few points ahead of Luigi. Obviously, the point system with that top 5 in qualifying means that if you're outside of that top 5 and your rival is in that top 5, that's just more that they're able to put against you and really push you to have to then do better in the race, Like, at this point, Luigi's going to basically have to win the race, right? Like, Luigi's going to have to win the race, Oystein finishes 2nd, and then we're kind of back to square one again, right?
Yeah, exactly,
That's sort of how that will work.
Exactly. It's going to be a close to 4 championships. This one. Fantastic. Whoever does win will deserve it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's a credit to all these drivers, obviously, coming in here, driving in and week out, and performing incredibly well every single time. It is very tough to do. You do experience things like burnout. It is a real thing, as much as people try to say that it's not. And, it's tough to be out here, to put on effectively your best performance possible every single week. It's hard. When considering the fact that when we look at this, we're not here as professionals, right? We're here to do it as a bit of fun, bit of relaxed time outside of work, and put on a show for everyone. And just as we see a couple people struggling a little bit with the final corner,
Oh my
which
God,
is
what the hell?
Oh jeez.
Wow. What happened there?
I think he had what happens at Spa sometimes. If you hit the inside wall doing that turn in the pit lane at Spa,
Oh, that was...
you flip. It's the same sort of thing with that wall here. We check the replay.
Oh yeah, let's go have a... if I can find that one. That was a different one. Who was that again? It was Nick, wasn't it? That had an off. Have a watch of Nick. What's he end up doing then? He loses the rear. Oh, a nice, lovely drift in the Beamer. Runs out of road and Reverse.
Sticks
Oh
it in
my,
reverse,
wow.
and he didn't even hit the wall.
Wow. That's, okay.
That's wow.
Well, I bet he doesn't have a clue what happened either. So at least we're all on the same page of not knowing what we've just witnessed. Yeah, that's different. Okay. Oh, well, he knows not to go near that wall again, I guess. That's what he's learned from that
Yep.
experience.
Yep.
Yeah, that's.
If you're close, if you're close, right? You just gotta accelerate, right? You
Yeah.
can't just no reverse, just full throttle. Hope that you go over.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was very, very different, that one. Yeah, never seen that.
I saw it a couple times actually. There was back before they did this whole netcode update. If you remember when they did that a few, it must have been sort of a month or two ago now. Before that, there was a lot of incidents where people racing side by side would end up like literally launching to space, especially in single seaters. The way that they did the tire collisions just didn't work quite the same as how they do in the GT cars. Thankfully, the GTs seem to be a little bit more lenient on side-to-side racing, which is, you know, it's what you want to see, right? You want to see everyone battling as hard as they can side by side, and maybe, hopefully, it'll push for some amazing racing. I mean, this track is very narrow. I'm sure you guys can see on the cameras that we have for you that this track is incredibly narrow. There's not really a lot of room when you do go to make a move to make it side by side, and naturally that's going to mean that in the race, having 3 cars battling for the same piece of tarmac, one of them is going to end up somewhere that they didn't want to be.
Yeah, it's gonna be looking at the field as well. A very tight race, so this could be a lot of action, a lot of close counters. The drivers have asked that they wanted it to be a 2-stop race, so then they could race hard and fast. That's what most of them have been asking for, and I think that's what they're going to get today. So this could be good. It's going to be very good. They are good drivers as well, so we should have some really good close racing and very respectful as well, as always.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you said, obviously we got to talk about the pit strategy. That's one thing that is almost a little bit different from what I've seen in some other leagues. You've got this 45% fuel limit. Right? Now, normally, when you reduce the fuel limit of cars, your intention is, right, let's make it at least a one-stop race, you know? Let's not make it so that everyone can run to the end, and I will say, Ryan Martin...
There we go.
That's a better lap for him in that Ferrari, and what a beautiful-looking Ferrari that is, by the way. Absolutely incredible-looking livery. But enough gushing about the livery. That lap was also another one for the record books. That's 203.3. I'm now wondering how much quicker can they go without slipstream.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he had any there, because obviously his teammate was behind him, but I don't think Adam improved on his time. So, did Adam help him out rather than help himself is the question there, I wonder. But yeah, yeah, slipstream might need to come into this as well. They've both got teammates, the ones that are fighting for pole, so this could be it could be down to that. But yeah, they are doing some fast times. They are very close, and they are continuing to find the edge.
And as we see, like, when you try and find the edge of the... Like, you know, when you try and find the limit, when you try and find that edge of grip, that next tenth, that maybe even 2 tenths, right? If you're already at what you perceive to be the limit, trying to find that extra, like, tenth or 2 tenths, right, is just so much harder. Like, you have to really just go for broke every single lap and hope that you can find something, right? Because if you don't, you're going to end up in a situation where either you're stuck doing the same lap times, which in a race situation, great, that's kind of what you want, right? Like, in a race situation, if you're hitting the same lap times every single lap, provided it's good, you know, the lap times are quick, consistent, chances are you're going to win that race. Now, the hardest part is, though, in qualifying, you're not going for consistency. You're going for, can I set the absolute fastest lap that anybody can do here? Like, can I be the fastest person on track over 1 lap? And honestly, at the moment, Ryan Martin, P7 in the championship, P1 overall, it's going to be tough to really put him out of that spot, I think. I mean, obviously, we're looking at the likes of Luigi, Hacken, Oystein, Andre, all of those guys who are consistently within the top, and they're still, they're close, but they're not as close as, say, for example, Davide, right? In P2, he's only 0.04 off. Now, admittedly, that 0.04 is still incredibly hard to find, but it's nothing compared to like almost half a second that Luigi has as gap, right? And yeah, I think it's literally going to come down to now those guys need to find a partner to work with in order to find that sort of time, because there's a lot of straights around here, right? On Road America, you can make a lot of time up by having a slipstream partner, provided they're still just as quick in the corners. You can find a lot of time doing it that way.
Yeah, I think Hookenen's found one here. He is right on the back of Oystein for their last runs, it seems, and they are going together on their last attempt. And he's definitely been dragged along down the straights.
But at the same time, he's setting greens, but he's not setting any purples, and I don't think it will be enough. Honestly, I think it may be enough to put him ahead of potentially like Hacken, right? Maybe potentially improves. Hacken currently seems like the fastest of the two of them, but Oystein just isn't quite fast enough in the last couple of sectors. Drops a tyre there, coming out of the corner, and yeah, as we see with the timings, he's improving in certain sectors, but there's a couple where he is just down, and you need to be seeing purples if you want to start challenging Ryan. You need to be setting purples, because otherwise you ain't going to do it. And this is the last chance they've got.
Oh, there's a car! Oh, that's ruined it. That's ruined both of their endings.
And Hacken, unfortunately, did set a purple in that sector as well.
Oh.
Oh, no. So he was on to potentially set a lap that tops Ryan Martin right in the death of it. And unfortunately, that car... Who was that? That was a BMW just stopped on the edge of the circuit.
Charles Christensen, looking at the livery of the cars, who that was. Stopped at the last corner. I think he missed time trying to get another run in and didn't get there in time and just stopped instead. And everybody else can't avoid him. Time and that's just...
That is heartbreaking. Luigi potentially could improve, though. Has just gone faster in Sector 5.
Well, he could actually.
Is he going to improve enough? It depends on how much he's down, but over the line, unfortunately not quite enough. So it was a pretty consistent lap, though, compared to what his personal best was. So he's got that going for him. He's got the consistency down, which naturally, as we say, in an hour-long race, that consistency will matter.
Yeah, that's going to be good as long as he can, as long as he stays on the limit. Each lap's that'll be good for him, especially with the hour-long race. If he can just do the same lap times again and again without, pushing too hard or making a big mistake, that's crucial.
But with, I was going to say, everyone's done on their qualifying laps. I think Luigi was the only one left on a flying run. And what that means is, I'm actually going to double check the standings, because I want to see, out of the top 5, out of the top 5 in quali, where are they sitting currently in the championship before this? So, Hakon was 6th, Andre being 3rd. I don't think it's going to shake up the order too much there. Oystein will get a little bit further away from Andre in the championship, along with Luigi also not picking up any points for qualifying, so has to make it up in the race, which, I mean, if people are saying it's going to be a 2-stop race, that's going to be interesting. Like, because that would just be flat out the entire time. Yeah, you separate that 20 minutes each stint.
Yeah.
Roughly, if you were to like even it out, right? You've got 20 minutes either way. You've got your first stint and 20 minutes.
So
pit,
car number
another 20 minutes pit,
5
and then you've got
seconds
another
goes for
20 minutes, right?
a
Um,
qualifying infringement. If they wish to do so, they can start from the
but
pit
yeah, I
lane
mean,
instead.
in general, I mean, it's looking as though, regarding at least the standings, Oystein's taken the initiative. To be honest.
Yeah, looking at it, I will have the updated standings for everybody in the warm-up in a second. So once that's done, so we can see exactly where everybody's filters in. But yeah, Oyston will be leading as we go into the race. So that's advantage him with the 2 races to go. You know, it's little point. It's gonna matter, isn't it? The little points in qualifying like that are gonna be absolutely
thank you very
crucial.
much.
Also, the driver that was the incident right at the end of qualifying now has the option to has either a 5-second penalty do you take at the end of the race or start from the back. I believe is his options. See what he take there.
Okay, well that's good to know. At least something is sort of being done about that.
Adding points. Overall, the qualifying results anyway.
Would you like
Extremely
to?
close.
Yeah, if you want to just run through Wes for the qualifying results.
Yeah, Ryan Martin then takes pole. I think he might have taken one before, but it's a good way to come back after last week's disappointment. David will take P2. Oyston will take third. Hakkinen in P4. Andre P5. It's a very close grid. Luigi in P6. David takes P7. He was leading the championship standings last week. Now currently I think sits 3 or 4. Richard, the newcomer, P8. Ivo van der Linden, P9. P10 for his Lambert, or Lambert even, not even, it's not Bert, is it? Gazeki takes P11, Adam Hedgecott takes P12, Rick Jansen P13, James Ellis P14, Charles will take P15, but he is the driver that was involved in the collision at the end of qualifying, so we'll see where he does start. Barry will take P16, Nick P17, Michael P18, P19 for Martin, P20 for Kevin, P21 for Thomas, P22 and P23 for Sebastian and Eli, both of them not setting times.
So potentially then, 23 car grid.
Yeah,
Pretty good
potentially.
turnout.
Yeah, it could be, depending if those last two do take part. So I'll get the championship standings now up, he says, and then doesn't. But we'll see if they work. Here we go. So the only position change it says is that Oyston will now be leading by 3 points heading into qualifying, but Andre Wolf's only 8 back from him and 5 back from Luigi. So it's pretty close there, and everybody else picking up a few points. Ryan Martin helping himself out there in P7, sort of closing the gap a little bit there.
Yeah, and I mean, in general, right? You're looking at the point standings now and thinking, well, you know, we've got one full length race to go here, you know, at Road America.
Yep.
Then I've got one more qualifying session, followed off by one more race. If I can win this race and do well in qualifying, that kind of takes the pressure off me for the final race, right? You know, that's probably what Oystein's thinking, at least. Like, in his head, he's going, right, I need to get as much of a gap to Luigi as possible, so that in the final race, I can just relax a bit, you know? Like, I want to just not have to, like, push myself to that level, and I don't want to make any mistakes in that final round, so if the pressure's off, then I can also just, you know, relax a bit, and the pressure's off me, right?
Yeah, I agree, yeah.
Yet, for Luigi, Andre, David, Leon, you know, all the drivers who are still fighting for it, I guess their job, right, is to put the pressure on Oystein, because if you put the pressure on, he's more likely to make mistakes in the race, which is, you know, again, a bonus. You get free possessions, potentially, which, you know, everyone likes stuff when it's free, right? That's the whole point of it being free.
Yeah, well, we're now in that situation where it's championship points. Now everyone has to think about them. You can drive more aggressively if you're lower down in the championship, and if you're higher up, you have to defend more and be a bit more safe and think about your racing. It changes, doesn't it, throughout the season? Normally, you know, everyone's racing the same amount, like pushing the limits the same amount. But now, once the championship starts to come towards the end, everyone starts thinking about that, and they have to think about the bigger picture. In the first few races, no one's really thinking about the bigger picture, but now there definitely are.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think it is one of those things where when you sign up to a championship, right? The first few races, your main goal is to learn who you're driving with. It's to set an example, right? It's to be there up the front. And then it's to almost find out, right, where am I? Like, where am I actually supposed to be fighting for? And then hopefully, we'll see what happens. But here is your grid and how they're going to line up. Naturally, we went through the qualifying position. The only thing to note was that the number 16 there, who I believe would have been Charles, is starting from the pit lane, actually, for that qualifying infringement.
Yes.
So, that's a big one. That is a big one.
Also, you can see the car in second is yellow, and the car in about, sixth place is yellow. So the car in eighth is definitely green. I'm just going to point that one out. Oh, continue
That's how we're going to rule that, is it?
I think so. If you look at them, they're yellow. That's definitely green. It's closer to the grass. The car next to it's also got a bit green on it. I'm just not going to agree with Kevin, I don't think, here.
Well, no, we'll have plenty of time to debate about that later on, right? Let's drag ourselves back to the racing a little, right? But is that dress white and what was it? It was
white or blue
and white and gold or whatever it was, right? It's that whole thing all over again. It also depends on people's monitors, right? Like, I might see a highlighter yellow, you might see a turquoise, it's all these different things. But rolling start here, of course, at the start of the race. And it's a long old lap here behind that Porsche safety car.
It's a whole lap. Normally it's like half a lap or whatever. Yeah, they're doing a whole lap. Wow. Well, their slippery tires are going to be pretty warm by the end of it, so that's probably a good thing to note, really. But to get the whole lap to just get used to that and get them all warmed up this time around. I'm going to quickly try and find if there's a camera where I can see the clearly green car. There it is. There. Look at that. It's green. That looks lovely.
All right. You know what? You can take this one. You can take this one. It's fine. I'm relatively new here. I'll let you take the high ground for now.
You don't agree it's green? Do you think it's yellow?
I think it's like a highlighter yellow. Like it's a vivid yellow. It's not green. It's like so it's like halfway between, right? Like
Okay.
It's like that weird. It's like that weird. It could go either way, but it's like 51% of one color and like 49 of the other,
Yeah, okay. It's half and half. Yeah, it's lovely is what it is. And
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I won't disagree with you on that one. But no, I will say though, like the grid just does look spectacular, doesn't it? I've always been a massive fan of sports car racing. Like that's the thing I absolutely have the biggest passion for is endurance racing and sports cars. And to see so many different types of car, you got Ferraris, BMWs, Mercedes, Porsche, Audi.
Any thoughts?
No Fords, sadly.
Unusual. I like to see a Ford every now and again.
Yeah, haven't had any.
Not
There
yet.
hasn't been any.
Or a McLaren. No McLarens either.
Yeah.
None this season at all, which is quite surprised.
So you guys know what you need to do, right? Get yourself involved. Hit us up at Anti-Stall. Come get involved and, become the commentator's favourite. Drive the Ford, drive the McLaren. You're guaranteed to be on stream every single week.
And a yellow and green livery.
Yeah.
Half and half.
Brawn-inspired livery.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. A McLaren Brawn livery, yeah, that would be fine. That would win.
Yep. Yeah. That's the one, right? That's definitely the one. But we are almost coming up to the end of the lap.
Yeah, here we go.
Which does mean we will be soon seeing that safety car pull away. And it will be Ryan Martin leading us off for... I almost said Road Atlanta. It's not Road Atlanta. That was last week. It's Road America this week. But it's one of the roads, right? But here we go, Ryan Martin in that number 86 Altitude Esports Ferrari. Leading away from Davide in the BMW. The pace car pulls off. Ryan is now in control of the speed of the field. Gonna wait to see when he goes, and he has gone indeed. We are green here at Road America, and Ryan does an amazing job getting a clean run there out front. Followed off by Davide, Oystein, Hakan, all battling for position behind him. All of them trying to settle in single file through turn number 1 and doing a great job at it. I think further behind there was a couple cars trying to go side by side, but also settling into that single file relatively quickly. And I'm going to be honest with you, that start, kind of what I'd expect from a league that seems so close. Everyone super close from 1st down to 10th, and everyone just knowing what's at stake here and making sure that that start is clean as a whistle. No one's going for any dangerous moves just yet. Everyone's sort of settling in. I say that, but further back from this battle, you see a couple of drivers going for moves. Lama definitely getting one up there on Adam Hedgecock, and I mean, what an amazing move that BMW driver did on the Merc. Just slipstream all the way down, got to get it all the way through, and once you do it, job's done. You know, the slipstream so powerful here, especially into that corner. Like, that is a move we're going to be watching for this entire hour-long race. And then moving back on up to the leaders here, Ryan doing an amazing job at holding off Davide for now, and everyone else sort of just filtering in behind and just following along the best they can. And the carousel is a corner that you'd imagine the Ferrari is going to excel at, obviously being quite nimble in these sort of medium speed to high speed corners in comparison to a couple of other drivers that are taking a little bit of the grass on exit of the kink, and that's not where you want to be, really. Especially with the update, you got to try and make sure you stay between those white lines.
Yeah, it's a lovely start. Everyone immediately single file, immediately looking around to see who's everywhere. Yeah, clean start, that's good. That's what we like to see. Now it's immediately onto the strategy, see where you're at, see what your lap times are. Top lot of drivers are pretty close. I think it's top 9 here, basically. All pretty close together, but that's what we saw in qualifying as well. But yeah, as you said, slipstream looks like it will be powerful. So I think the moves will be into turn 1 and maybe turn 3, or is it turn 4 technically? I think maybe turn 3, isn't it? Really? Oh, there's a move there. Oystein up the inside immediately.
That is a very brave move to send one up the inside of turn number 1. It's still on, though. He's still going to have to try and send it through turn 2. The Merc does have the legs. Is he going to be able to send it up the inside? If he does, then potentially the Porsche behind of Hakan can try and follow through. And if he does follow through Oystein here, then potentially Davide is going from 2nd, dropping 2 positions down here. I said this track was narrow, and trying to go 3 wide ain't going to work. So the Porsche indeed is going to try and follow around the outside here. This battle raging on through like 2 or 3 corners, and they almost touched there on the exit. Moving now down just before the carousel, and they do touch going in. And I can tell you what, this racing is absolutely bananas. Do they not realise that we still have another 57 minutes to go?
It's fantastic. They know the width of their vehicles there. That was brilliant. They were side by side for, what, 4 corners. They did eventually touch, but only, you know, enough to close the mirror in.
Yeah, no, absolutely. If anything, it's just going to be a bit of annoyance for Oystein to have to deal with, right? Maybe has to try and just reach out to see if he can adjust it back again.
Have to do it again next lap just to fold it back out.
Just got to be on the other side this time and just maybe brakes a little bit earlier just to see if he can use the friction to get it back going again. But no, I mean, what an incredible, respectful race this is already turning out to be. I mean, we said that slipstream was powerful, right? And I mean, we saw it, right? Going into turn 1, I honestly think Davide held off a little bit because it looked as though he was going to go for the move on Ryan.
Yeah.
And then sort of just backed off right at the end, which then allowed Oystein to actually then go and send it up the inside. And then Hakan was trying to follow through, but there's just not enough space. You just can't do it.
Oh, it was brilliant. Yeah, I think you're exactly right. He looked like he was going to go for the move, backs out, and then Oystein's like, oh, okay, I'll have a go then. And then they just stayed side by side for a few corners because he didn't actually want to let him by, but yeah, it was brilliant. Oh, it's given Ryan a nice advantage now, 1.3 seconds. I don't know how powerful this slipstream is. I don't know how far back you get it, but I'm not sure if they're still within the range. I'm not sure. these cars
You
if they are.
around
Ooh.
about a second in GT cars as we see Davide going a bit Tokyo Drift style there on the exit of the corner. Picks up a little bit of the dirt, but yeah, normally you look at about a second gap for slipstream. So one person who definitely has it is Oystein, and I will say Davide doing a bit of late defensive moves there, trying to avoid the move from Oystein. And Oystein does make the mistake, goes a little bit wide. You saw under braking, the car wiggled there, and that Porsche has now gone through, the Porsche of Hacken. So again, Oystein needs to be careful, because if he keeps up going back the way he is, the rival that is incredibly close to him, we all know who that is, Luigi in the Lambo. Gotta love it, Italian car. He is going to end up right on the back of him, and let's be honest, Luigi's going to take no prisoners, right? Like, he's just going to go for it.
Yeah, he's got, at the end of the day, he's got nothing to do. He might as well give a go for the move. If it's on, go for it. I think Oystein is trying his hardest to get past. Obviously, David, it's not worked out, and he's lost a place to Hakkinen, but he's been trying to get through. It's not worked out for him, but he's at least being the aggressor. Obviously, leading the championship, but still wants more. But at least we're seeing him go. There's a spin in the background. That round is, I think, Ivo. Oh, it's a big crash as well. He's been clipped as well.
That is a big crash. That BMW ain't getting back out there anytime soon.
Let's have a look.
That is exit the corner. It looks like, no.
Yeah, I think he's gone. He's there. It's the kink, isn't he? He's gonna go touch the grass, isn't he? Oh no! Wow. Okay. Just mid corner.
A little bit too fast in.
He rolled it.
Oh,
That's gonna be some damage to that Merc as well.
yeah. Not easy to deal with, but naturally, that is racing. Sometimes, you know, you want to try and be on the limit every single time. You try taking that corner flat out a little bit too quickly, and you end up, unfortunately, in a wall, flipping around. And
yes, second beam
really what you want to be,
roof, isn't it?
Yeah, Beamers love to not be on their tires apparently this race,
well,
which
they're big whales, aren't they? Really, so they do like to be on their back.
well, yeah. I mean, let's not talk about the front end of a BMW right now, shall we? Let's not bring up that kettle. I mean, look, love it or hate it, that's the way it's going to be for BMW from now on. That's their signature look.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't like it. What's your opinion on it, Wes?
They can look nice. They can look nice. There is an extreme line to it, I think. But yeah, they do. Some of them look nice. Some of the new modern ones can look really good. But yeah, they're maybe a bit too large sometimes.
Little bit. Now, the other thing as well that I am curious about to see, as further down the grid, by the way, I'm not sure if you've been keeping track of it, but James Ellis having a right old scrap there with, I believe it was, for a little while, Kevin Burke, potentially, and Kevin managing to get past and finally making that move stick, so James is now dropping down the order a little bit, but it was...
I was battling with Michael Barry, and then I was really on him then, but then what happened was I braked a bit too late, too light, and then Charles just went in front of me.
Yeah,
just managed to keep off James Ellis then, but he's all over me now.
Absolutely.
Scraps everywhere, isn't there? We're out the field. Massive 21 car grid, and we just had to look at the further down, and they're all in the same line as the leaders. Everyone's just battling out.
I mean, it's amazing to see. You know, this is what you get from GT racing. You know, everyone talks about BOP this, BOP that. Mate, I just want to see these cars battling on track for as close as possible for the last, like, hour, you know? And thankfully, this Merc just manages to get by, does have the slipstream, so does make it through that lovely brawn-looking livery. That's going to be how to determine that one for the rest of the race.
When he went through there, I told myself the green car's past the other green car, but I was like, controversial bit there.
Yeah. Although I will say, though, it's one of those things, right? You make the pass through turn 1, through turn 2. Yeah, this is the problem that you have, right? You go by in the first straight, you then have the second straight, where you're just going to get attacked back again. And immediately we see that happen. David manages to get a nice run on through Richard, and boom, he's straight back past. Now, you can use that to your advantage. You can work together and use that as a way to sort of like leapfrog each other and almost use the slipstream to benefit both your lap times. Work together to catch up to the people in front. I don't think it's going to be as friendly as that. I think they're gonna battle.
Yes, I think that's straight up. That's a battle for P8. That one is. Well, that's a battle for. It's a big point as well there. The leaders have closed the gap there. It was over a second. It's now back down to 3/10. They've got a little bit of a gap back to third. So David E has really gone for it now, hasn't he? He's put some good times in. He's closed the gap down. He's pulled away from third. Yeah, he now wants to lead this race.
Absolutely, and you see that BMW sniffing the rear end of that Ferrari. Wants all of that Ferrari. And honestly, if he can wait, if he's patient, he's going to get him into turn 1 here. Potentially, waits though, does it in the second part of the lap, after going through the turn 1, then into turn 2 and 3. And if he can wait and be patient, if he gets them on the second straight, there's no chance for Ryan to fight back. But saying that, he will go for the move into turn 1 and gives Ryan absolutely nowhere to go. A little bit of a squeeze there as Davide does go through and into first position. Does now lead this race after 10 minutes, 6 laps. Well, 5 laps have gone. We're on to lap number 6. And Davide is now your leader of the race. Our first lead change here. And one that Ryan, I'm sure, did not want to happen.
Oh, yeah, definitely not. As Nick now continues to fight with Martin Brandon. As they touch actually going into turn 1 there. And Martin will go through. But yeah, the racing intense everywhere down the grid. As yeah, the leader has now changed, of course. Which will be the first of possibly many in this race. But yeah, the changing positions absolutely everywhere on this grid.
Yeah, and I mean, it's great to see. But honestly, one of the things that I always love to shout out is the big movers of the grid, right? You know, where did they start? Where did they finish, right? Usually those are the ones that don't get talked about a lot as well. And, I mean, off the start, we can already look and see there's a couple of drivers who've gained 4 places off the start. Michael Berry obviously being the first of many. And, you know, 14th position right now. Started 18th on the grid. A great job from him. And then further down, Kevin Burke, same thing. Right? Gains 4 positions off the start. There's a couple of other drivers who are, you know, 3 places up. But there's a potential for Kevin to even just push a little bit harder, gain a little bit more positions. And yeah, the gap is extending to Charles, but still enough for him to be able to properly get onto the back. If he can find that pace, which, you know, it's all possible, especially when you got an hour.
Yeah, and of course the pit stop as well at some point will mess with this race. It's always good to see what the strategy does. Will have an effect on the order, I'm sure. And if people do try once, I'll be surprised if anyone does. But there it is, just put the fast lap of the race in, so he's really going for it now, I must say, out the front.
Yeah. I mean,
oh, who's off?
He's
Someone spun off. He's off. He spun.
That was Davide. What happened?
How's he done that? He's back on now. Luigi's through. Let's have a look at what he done on his own, possibly. I think there.
I bet that was going wide, touching the grass into T1.
Oh,
no, he lost it into T1.
Lost it on his complete. Well, we'll go again. I think he just completely loses the rear end as he brakes then.
Yeah, brake bias a bit too far to the rear.
Oh,
no, he brakes on the
grass.
grass.
Yeah.
Oh, that is so unfortunate. We were saying earlier how the drivers knew how big their cars were. Davide obviously being one of those 2 drivers, and, well, maybe just forgot a little bit.
Yeah, he's
Forgot the width.
got there. I think James Ellis has just pitted. Yeah, I think he's just straight up pitted.
James.
So okay. A little bit early there for a pit stop from James, I must admit. Normally we don't have him until about the 20-minute marker, but there you go. Michael Berry and Charles have just swapped places about 3 times on my timing screen. They're side by side. And Michael, I think, staying ahead for now. So Ryan leads again then.
Yeah, I mean, look, I didn't want to say it, right? The commentator's curse, I was talking about it before, and I said, it's going to happen at some point in the race. I said, there will be the first lead change, probably of many. Yeah. And, well, yeah. There's now been 2 lead changes because of a mistake of Davide, which, apologies to Davide after the race. That wasn't my intention.
Yeah, he
but,
was flying,
he's still
wasn't he?
good.
Set his fast lap
Yeah.
and then spin, so he was pushing the limit, and he found the limit of the width of his vehicle there.
Yep. Pretty sure the next time we see him, he'll probably be in the middle of the road.
Yes, he will be nowhere near the
Going into
grass.
turn one. But Ryan does need to be careful because Hakon is on for him move potentially in that Porsche. And I will say, after watching a couple of these GT races, the Porsche so good on the exit of the corners in comparison to a lot of these other GT cars. So fast on the exits, and its acceleration is second to none. Like, you could be, a tenth or two back. You're probably going to gain all of that just on corner exit. And as we see, Hakon does exactly that, gets into the slipstream, and the move is done before the braking zone. So amazing job from Hakon. And then again, Oystein goes through as well, takes a little bit of an advantage. Maybe Ryan caught a little bit napping there and just ends up letting Oystein through. I mean, I'm not sure whether or not Ryan possibly had a slowdown or anything, but it doesn't look like it. Just a little bit of an early break, and Oystein decides, you know what, mate, if you're going to be, ambling around, taking it easy, nice Sunday drive, I'm just going to send it straight through.
Yeah, he saw the advantage. He saw that his friend Hagen was going through, and he was like, oh, okay, I'll follow you through there. Ryan's not in a very good position, almost boxed in a way, on the entry to the corner, and yeah, Ryan didn't put up too much of a fight to Oystein there, so he's dropped down to third, but maybe he'd like to be there for a little bit, get some fuel saving in, get some slipstream. He's been really leading the race for a few laps now, so it'd be good for him to probably follow a few cars now.
Yeah, no, and I suppose the other advantage is that if you're following other cars, right, you can learn where their strengths and weaknesses are, right, as we see Hakon going very wide there. Needs to be careful going quite that far. Obviously, there is a wonderful thing known as the good old iRacing 1X. I want to try and limit those where possible.
Michael Berry just went off, so now Charles has gone through. There was also another incident. I think Martin Brandon had a spin. Let's have a look. Just a few laps back.
Yeah, check that for me, because I don't know if I clipped him or I didn't feel like I clipped him, but I got a 4X for it.
Oh, I don't know. I'll have another look at a different angle of that one, because I'm not sure if he just loses it trying to somewhat avoid your car on the X. It sounded like you hit each other, but then it doesn't really look like much contact, I must admit, actually. So, sure the stewards to look at it, but from my view, maybe a bit of netcode. What do you think there?
Honestly, seems a little bit like netcode.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, probably a little bit slow on the exit of the corner compared to what he was expecting. So naturally tries to take avoiding action, maybe turns a little bit too much, and that's what sends him off into the spin. But
Yeah.
yeah, it seems a little bit more like netcode than anything else. I don't think it's anything malicious on either front.
Yeah. I'd go with as well there. Just looked a little bit netcodey there in the end, but yeah, there are some things. Much could have really been done to avoid that one, to be honest. Yeah, it's just racing. I'd say that one. We'll go probably. I'll see what the stewards say, obviously, but I think like that will go maybe down to netcode. Of course, that channel is open. When he speaks, we'll be able to hear him, but if he posts anything in any officially, I'll be able to see it too. So gap now to the leader, just about a second, roughly. Ryan now coming back at Oystein. Put a bit of a gap to Andre as well there in P4.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, Andre, one of those drivers that, when we look at the championship, right, we have that expectation that we're going to see every single week. We're going to see Luigi and Oystein battling for the top. Andre's going to be there or thereabouts. Maybe not quite had the luck that he's needed, or maybe just the car hasn't felt amazing at a couple of circuits, because when you look at the results, right, yes, he has a win, but it's not consistent, right? You've got a couple of places that are just dipping in and out, as we see Richard coming in to the pit lane, as Hakon does go and set the fastest lap of the race with a 2:04.6, I believe that was.
Yeah.
So again, that race pace really starting to push it now, and I think if you can do that while you're on low fuel, and you can do that consistently while you're on low fuel, you're going to end up finding a lot of time compared to everyone else. All right, I think that's going to be your biggest thing, is how fast can I be when I know I'm coming in for a pit stop soon. Because a lot of people, I think, especially when a race has multiple pit stops, don't talk about how much that actually matters. You know, the pit lane time here is quite short in comparison to a lot of other circuits. You know, it's pretty much just straight in off the final corner. You know, you're slowing down a lot more than where you would if you were just going for it on a regular lap, but even still, it's enough to put you quite far back. When you take a full tank of fuel, maybe you'll change tires, though I doubt it in an hour race
They
with these
normally
cars.
don't, but I'm just looking at Richard there. He was in the box at 26.6. Normally, the maximum we see the drivers in the pits for are 20 seconds. So I'm not sure if he's taken maybe some damage. How long does tires take normally? Because no one normally does it here. And Richard's new, so... Sure if he's...
Tires could potentially push that pit stop time to like over a minute.
Really? Okay, so he hasn't done that then. I mean, maybe he had a little damage then that he's had to fix in the pits there, because it's taken him a little bit longer than it normally would. Pits there.
Also, a little trick that I learned through endurance racing. Get your notepads out, people. I'm about to educate you. We've got... so you know the windshield tear off, right?
Yep.
That actually changes the pit stop time by about a second, 2 seconds.
Oh, okay.
If you have it checked.
Oh.
Honestly, in a race with multiple pit stops, leave that unchecked unless you absolutely need it. It could save you. It could save you a race. Who knows? Maybe.
Maybe, yeah. Good thing to know.
I don't think it'll matter. I don't think it'll matter too much in a race like this, but
Well, I have
Hey.
I have a button set to window wipers because I'm doing the rallycross, so that should have that. So I'll just use that instead of the hair
yeah.
off. I think it says David has gone off. Let's have a look. Has he just gone wide turn 1? Maybe just a
Turn
little-
1 is tricky.
Yeah, a little wide.
Yeah.
He's all way very wide there actually. He's survived, so he's all right there.
I was gonna say the new grass not killing him just yet.
No, there's a bunch of people are starting their pit stops, which makes sense. Normally, I'd say in the pit stops is what happens is Andre will go a lap longer than everybody else. He does it nearly every single week. If there's a one stop, Andre will be the one to try it. So we'll see from him, he is always. That's how he won his race. He did a one stop and he did it perfection. I think he did a one stop maybe in Bathurst as well. Like he will do a one stop wherever there is one possible. I'd say from looking at it, Hökkonen will be the first of these lot to pit. And I think we've had it before where everyone sort of followed the leader and everyone in the exact same time. So we'll see if that maybe might end up being the strategy there. With it being such a long lap, I think it's quite a bit harder to save an extra lap of fuel when it's a minute-long lap time.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose the other thing as well is if you've been battling really close with someone, potentially you can use the fact that you have slipstream, as we saw how powerful it already has been in this race. You know, you can use that to save a bit of fuel, just lift off the throttle a bit as Hacken comes in. And immediately, Oystein and Ryan both have responded. Andre choosing to go an extra lap longer, Luigi doing the same thing, but everyone else is pretty much coming in all at the same time. There's not many people who are staying out. I believe the only people who are staying out are people who haven't pit yet. Oh, sorry, who have already pit yet. So, yeah, I mean, that's going to shake things up. Obviously, that pushes a couple drivers way up the grid. And now it's going to be the battle of pit lane. Which team has the fastest pit crew? I mean, this is always one that's always fascinating to watch, especially in things like Formula One, where you see sort of Red Bull with their amazing pit crew and pit strategies, as we see who will leave their box first. We do hear the revs of that Porsche. One of the loudest cars, I think, in GT3.
Wow,
and it is, yeah, Davide, very, very close. And has Davide actually managed to jump the other two
Yeah,
there?
he's jumped a few cars, actually. Think about it. Hökkonen was leading by about a second, and now David was in about, what, he was now in P6 now. I think he was in P6 anyway, and he's come out right behind him. So how long? He's done 4 seconds less in the pits than everybody else. His pit lane was 45.2. Everybody else was 51 seconds. So he's dropped 6 seconds on everybody there in the pit lane. I don't know how he's done that.
I mean, that's just pushing it to the absolute limit on your way in.
He must have fueled less as well, because in the actual pit stop himself, he was in there for 4 or 6 seconds less than everybody else. So he's definitely taken less fuel there, but he has jumped a lot of track position.
Yeah, and I think in a race like this, where I reckon saving fuel actually is a lot easier than people make it out to be. Yes, it's a 2-minute long lap, but you think about how much of that lap is actually under braking, right? How much of that lap is on the straights where you can potentially save a bit by just lifting behind the car that you're following? I mean, as you called it, right? Andre, 1 lap later,
Yeah.
and he's into the pit lane. Luigi, same thing. Lama, same thing. So, yeah, I mean...
Yeah, the one thing I didn't expect was David to go that much higher. And look at that. As well, Häkkönen's. Look at the gap. They're about a second behind now. And now, what's Ryan and Oyston's, 4.5 back from them. So, yeah, wow. They've lost a lot in the pit stops there. Where does Andre fit into the question?
I'm wondering whether or not anything actually happened with Ryan going into the pit lane, because the actual pit lane time was a lot longer for those guys than it was anyone else. And Luigi is coming out of the pit lane again, very, very fast pit lane time for Luigi.
He's jumped, he's in the lead.
He's just about ahead. So Luigi pulling out all the stops here and manages to get out right in front. He will be on a little bit colder tyres, obviously having done his stop. So does need to be careful. Obviously, it's not going to be as cold as brand new fresh tyres. But Hakon and Davide are going to be all over the back of him. I imagine there was some sort of team call in there. If Luigi and Davide are sitting together in a call, I imagine he's been, one of them has been crunching the numbers on fuel times, and they have got that absolutely nailed. But they do need to be careful, because Hakon is trying to send it up the inside of Luigi, both the teammates together, as we come over the crest. And again, Luigi kind of just lets Davide through. And I'm not entirely sure whether that's because they're teammates and, naturally you don't want any teammate collision, or whether or not potentially Luigi's just saying, look, you've got the pace. I can't compete with you this race, man. Like, just go.
Yeah, this happened.
I'll follow you, just go.
Happened last week where Davide was basically fighting for the lead, then it all sort of went wrong. He fighting for seconds already, went off the road and then came back on behind Luigi, and they just started fighting. You would have thought they would have swapped positions, or did they swap for the points? And then as soon as they let David go, he ended up crashing.
Big crash, sorry, Wes.
There has been,
Just
Richard. Oh, yeah, there's a few cars, isn't there? Let's have a.
Richard, Rick, and Goetz all involved in this one. Watch for that car number 4. See what happens down here. Does he go a little bit wide, maybe? I'm confused as what is going on. Just over the crest we go, and just unfortunately spins it around. And netcode tags, and then decides to try and get off the racing line, and that's the importance of holding your brakes.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. And David has gone to the lead. Apparently, just as we went to that, he ends up passing Häkkinen. Good move, but I'm not sure if he gets it stopped in time.
And unfortunately not.
Luigi's
and his teammates through as well. That's one of those frustrating moves, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's one of those where you go up the inside, you're like, yes, I've done it. And then you haven't quite.
But what these two have done, just like last week, they went for they pitted a little bit earlier than everyone else, and they went for less fuel as well, and they went for a faster middle stint, so they'd have to put more fuel in later, a bit of fuel saving. They've done it again here. Obviously, it's given them massive track position here, but at some point they will have to save and see if they work together. Like last week, they did sort of get in each other's way. David was a bit quicker, but Luigi wasn't allowing him through. You would think, to be fair, Luigi is fighting for the championship. David is not, but he's the faster car, so that's a discussion is probably going to happen again here soon. They both have underfueled like 6 seconds compared to everyone else, so they have underfueled, and they might have to pit earlier, and they all might have to fuel save. But everybody else around them knows they're doing this. Andre has also passed Ryan and Oyston in the pit, so he's done a brilliant pit stop there as well to jump them. But they all will know what these guys are doing, and they are not going to want to wait, as Ryan has apparently crashed behind.
Oh no, and that's a teleport back to the pit lane as well, so that's going to be a big one. And unfortunately, we're seeing a lot of people lose it there. A lot of people lose it there.
Oh no, our pole man's then out.
That is going to be devastating for Ryan's chances at the championship.
He's going to be
And again, another...
so annoyed.
Yeah, that's another relatively... I mean, unlucky result, to be honest, as we see Kevin Burke go up the... Was that Kevin Burke defending or going up the inside? Either way, impressive driving.
I was defending.
Either way, very impressive stuff. Got to fend off both of the Bimmers here in the Audi. We all know the Audi, short wheelbase, very agile car, but one that is a little bit twitchy. Can be a little bit sketch going into some of these corners. But Kevin doing a good job so far, holding everyone off.
I just can't believe that for Ryan. That's 2 weeks in a row now. He's had he's had a crash, and he's going to be very mad because he had a very good chance the other day, and he was on pole, and it's just not gone his way. And the other crash we saw as well, that was very unfortunate for the car. You can see in the foreground there, Richard had nowhere to go as well. It's just all of them were a bit unfortunate. I assume they are going to look into that one with the Richard one, but yeah, it's very unfortunate.
It just seems to be one thing after another, isn't it? As Kevin, again, having to do a bit more defending here. Both the BMWs trying to put their noses in front.
He nudged me then, and then I nearly went off.
But it's, yeah, going to be very tough. Kevin needs to do a good job of defending here. The slipstream of the BMW is going to push that car to be a little bit ahead going into turn number 1. Kevin having to try and defend around the outside. Isn't going to be able to hold off. We'll have to wait and see. Last of the late breakers. Gets incredibly close. Tries to hold it all the way around the outside. That's some very impressive driving. BMW in front, almost given no space as well. Having boxed in to be a BMW sandwich right now. The Audi being the meat in the middle.
I'm definitely the meat.
But I will say, it is very impressive driving. I mean, this is down here for P14, and these guys are fighting for like it absolutely means the world, and the BMW almost sends it there. That's the number 10, almost sent it on the one in front as well. Almost was looking for a double move there.
Oh, no, I knocked him.
Oh, it's an unfortunate bit of contact there. Going over the crest. A little bit hard to see, obviously, the people in front, but no harm, no foul.
Gonna be too much damage. What should just get back going and continue as they were. It was good racing though. I'm sure at some point they will rejoin and continue the race, as we still got half the race to go.
I mean, it's been all go, hasn't it? So far this race. We've hardly had a break between us right now. It's been, I mean, what a first race to enter in on, right?
Yeah, we've had a leader spin. We've had our pole man crash. Now we have a new leader. We have people undercutting people in the pits. Yeah, no, there's been a lot. There's a lot going on. It's fantastic. And all of this, we don't know how the championship's going to end up at the end of the race.
I mean, at this point, with Oystein where he is, Luigi where he is, I mean, potentially, we may see that championship fight swing back the other way. As we are on board right now with Charles, the number 16 in that BMW. Goes up the inside using that slipstream in turn number 1. We've seen how powerful it is every single time that we've seen somebody close to the other. You know, usually about 3/10 off, give or take. And that's all it takes. But on the receiving end of that Ferrari, you're going to have the slipstream trying to go all the way back. Jump back on board here with Davide. Is closing up on his teammate. Want to check the last couple of laps, see who indeed is faster. Currently, Hakon setting the fastest laps of the race so far. 204s compared to everyone else who's doing 205s at the moment. So, I mean, if you want to improve a gap, that's how you do it, right? Yeah,
he did well. He did get attacked a little bit by both. He did have to pass Luigi, he had to defend from Davide, and now he's sort of got the gap and trying to drive away from them. He knows they're probably on less fuel, so he'll be happy with this. If he can keep the gap like it is, he'll be safe. Now he's just got to focus on his own race, and make sure he hits his target with the fuel. And yeah, now he's done well. He's found himself in the lead. He's doing some very good lap times. He does another good one there. And yeah, he's in a good, comfortable, I'd say safe position. It's everybody else's job now to catch him up.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Although there is one thing that Hakon is going to have to be careful of, and that is some back marker traffic. It is
Oh,
as shocking as it is to say, half an hour in, you got some back marker traffic to try and get through. You need to hope that they see you, right?
yeah, and it's always worse for the leader, isn't it? Because they're the first ones to get there, and then everybody else sort of gets the easy way through. That's a very nice easy way. Oh, that's lovely. That's as easy you like, really. That one. That's you'll be happy with that.
Yeah, there wasn't much time to slow down there for Hakon. Gets through, makes it nice and easy. But will the same courtesy be applied to the Leo Racing Team members here from Luigi and Davide? Naturally, they are also a lap in front of the car there. I believe that is Charles's car, I believe, is it not?
I think it might be Ivo van der Linden's. Yeah, I think he pitted again after the incident
Oh,
with
okay,
Kevin,
yep.
so that's why he's there. But yeah, he's got out of the way of the leader nicely, so I think he hopefully get out the way of second and third nicely as well. As they're spread out a bit behind Andre and Oyston after Ryan crashed. They've sort of spread gaps to each other now. They haven't really closed in on these lot either, so yeah, it's that Ryan crashing's really opened this race too now. Yeah, there's so much could happen now within the next half an hour or 25 minutes. As yeah, even Devin looks looking at Luigi, I'd have to say, as he continues to close that gap down.
Yeah, and I wonder how much of that is slipstream and how much of that is actual pace as well. I mean, if those two do start doing maybe a leapfrog technique, we see it in karting as well, right? That's a big thing in karting. You see a lot of people switching positions to try and like use the slipstream and almost work together. Sometimes bump drafting as well. That's another thing that we may see. Obviously, maybe not necessarily in here, but hey, it can happen. We're at an American track, right? Home of bump drafting. Why not? Give it a shot.
Yeah, why not? He's really close to him now. I do wonder, is it if Luigi starts flashing his lights at Ivo? Yeah. Is it championship or is it who's quicker? Luigi's getting out of the way, I'd say. There, he's pulled to the side and allowed David through as James Ellis pits again.
Same place catching them in regards to the back marker at least. So nice and easy, let them through. And I have noticed there has been a couple of people picking up 5-second penalties post-race. So potentially some to look for that may end up changing the complexion of what we see
Yeah.
in regards to the results.
Last one for number 10, or was it for, maybe it was 19, I'm not wrong. Double check that. Odd if you send a message, can't remember who that exactly was for. As apparently I just got told that Eli has passed Sebastian for P22, which both of these aren't in the race, by the way. They were in qualifying and practice, but they didn't start the race. So the in the pit lane has been a move apparently from the cars that haven't started. So thank you for that.
That's
always good.
I mean, I honestly wish you could have seen the move. It was spectacular.
Yeah, I bet that was 30 mile an hour move. I'm sorry, it's such a shame for Ryan to be out here. He's going to get points for P21, which is, oh, I'm not sure exactly what position points that is ahead, but I don't think it's even 20, so that's very unfortunate for him. But he'll be staying in probably about P7, P8. I wonder if he will get caught or not. But yeah, after the start he had in qualifying, it's going to be a shame for him to not finish inside the top 5.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But we are seeing now there's a couple of people starting to catch up to this second place battle. If we saw in the background there, Andre Wolf and Oystein, and Oystein's doing an incredible job in that Merc. Last couple of laps have been really, really consistent. And that number 37, I mean, he says he's part of 5-Star Motorsport. He's putting on a 5-star drive right now, and he's gonna try and make this pass on Andre. And again, as we said about that pit stop battle, with Oystein and Andre's pit stops being pretty much similar lap times, just the pit entry being the difference there between the two of them as to why that time obviously came down. I mean, Oystein, if he makes the move, it's just going to come down to a pit stop game, really. It's in that second pit stop, how much fuel did you save actually by being behind Andre? Or are you going to just go for the move every single chance you get and hope that you can just pull away before you get to the pit stops? Hope that your pit stop's good enough so that you don't have to worry about any potential attacks coming out.
Yeah, and after the second pit stop, normally it's basically like a 10-minute sprint to the end. So you gotta fuel correctly, and you gotta set yourself up for a good end to the race. Really, you want a quick end to it. So this stint is quite very crucial to position yourself and where you can aim for, because it's difficult, especially with it being a 2-minute lap time. 10 minutes around here is not that many laps that have closing past the car in front. So yeah, no, this could be quite crucial. Could be definitely, I'd say, some positions will be done by the pit stops.
Yeah, and I think, especially with this track, I said before how this track is quite hard to overtake on. There's only a couple of places where you can really make that move, as Davide and Luigi both come into the pit lane at the exact same lap. So, I mean, hey, if you're trying to work together, and you're trying to work together to catch up to P1, I mean, if you're Davide right now, right, you're trying to drag Luigi up to obviously secure him more championship points, right? That's your job as the driver in front when you're in a team fight like this. You're trying to take sort of the brunt of the action to make sure that Luigi can get through safe, that he can do what he needs to do to end up winning the championship. And I believe if you're Davide, almost you need to sort of look at this and be like, right, I am quicker than him, but I almost have to hold off just a bit to make sure he keeps getting slipstream, because he's struggling right now. I need to think more about the team than my own race.
Yeah, as he's come out a little bit ahead, I'd say. Looks like Luigi put in, well, they're nailing the pit entry and pit exit, but Luigi put in 9/10 worth of more fuel, it would seem, in the actual box. That's what it seemed there. So that's why the gaps got stretched out a little bit more. Oyston also passed Andre on turn 1 that lap. I think Andre is doing fuel saving from what I can see into turn 1. He's lifting off quite early, and that's how Oyston's gone through. They got a 9-second gap to the leader, but so this is the second pit stop phase, a little bit early, to be honest, to be pitting for the second one, I'd say. So I'm intrigued to see if everybody else follow. We don't see it often. We don't see other drivers following or covering other people off. They normally stick to their own strategy. So now it'll be intriguing to me to see if the rest of the top 3 stay out and stick to their strategy, or they try and mirror what the Leo Racing team are doing. Bears.
Yeah, and as you said before, right, Andre, we know he's used to going 1 lap later, right? Like that's his thing. So if we see Andre almost follow suit, I think then everyone else is like, wait, did we miss something here? Did we miss the memo that we were supposed to pit last lap? Because Andre's doing something weird.
Yeah.
Pitting with everyone else. But again, we'll have to wait and see if it happens. I think Andre very much knows what his strategy is going to be as we see Lamat finally come in for his second and final pit stop. I'd imagine that will put him behind Davide and Luigi.
Yeah, surely it will put him there. I think he's got a nice. Well, he's going to be come out right. He'll be coming out probably behind Rick Jansen. He'll be in a nice open circuit for him there. I think it's a little while back to Charles, so that'll be nice for him to have some clear air in the final stint. Doing well, actually, I'd say. Really well, actually, today. Leading Beamer? No, he's not leading Beamer because Davide is he, but he's doing well. Yeah, he's doing very well.
I mean, do you know what's really cool to see, though? And again, I'm going to bring up the BOP thing that iRacers always want to complain about. Top 4 different manufacturers. Sorry, top 3 different manufacturers. Almost. It's okay. So when David pits, it will be 4. Yeah. It will be 4. Well, actually, it'll be 5 because the Ferrari will be. The Lambo will be up there as well.
Yeah, it's fantastic, isn't it? That's how you want it to be.
Yeah. I mean, as much as we like to give iRacing a little bit of, a little bit of trouble. It's definitely, they've done an amazing job on the GT3 side of things, I think. Especially with the new ones. Obviously, the first time they come into the service, right? Like when the BMW was first announced and it first came in, it was a bit of a beast around, like, basically every circuit. And they've had to tone it back a little bit. But I think now that we have obviously the new Ferrari, we've got the new Mercedes, we've got the Audi potentially is going to get an Evo version soon.
Oh, it
And we
definitely
may
needs
see
one.
that.
It needs a boost. 'Cause it's in every other car. It's my favourite car, but every other car seems to be getting the touch. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
Yeah.
and the Audi's getting left behind. I'm not happy at all. But to add to that, I didn't like the Beamer at all when it first came. Tried it, thought feels slow, sluggish. And then I was racing on Sandown, couldn't get a good time with the Audi. Thought, let me try the Beamer. And we're just doing some really good times, so I'm very impressed with it actually.
Oh, there you go. You've heard it from a driver of the league. Pick yourself up the Beamer when you can. Give it a shot. You might surprise yourself. But I will say though, it's one of those things that's really cool to see. And I mean, you were talking about cars that don't get a lot of love. Honestly, I mean the Ford. I know it doesn't have a GT3 car anymore.
Don't start Gerard on it. Don't start him. Don't want to hear Gerard start come back and stop stewing him for a minute. But like, yeah, the Ford, definitely the Ford. We should see more Fords. Every time he loves that thing. Absolutely loves it.
Is that Gerard's car, that?
I'm not sure it's his car, but every time we mention a Ford, he's like, yeah, we should have more Fords. He likes the look of a good Ford.
I mean, the other thing to note though is the McLaren.
Yeah.
I mean, we could actually genuinely see the new McLaren come into the service. That would be really cool.
That'd be nice. That would add another car. That'd be cool. I'll be absolutely fine with that.
Yeah, the 720S GT3. I mean, it's a looker too. I'm sure those of you who are interested in the GT series have been following along with us. Maybe follow it in real life. Naturally, I mean, if you look at that McLaren in real life, I mean, it is it just looks so good. It's such a nice car. Like, honestly, one of my favorite GT3 cars right now.
Ivo van der Linden just passed Thomas. Let's see how he does that one then. On the exit of a corner, yeah, just goes on the exit, and Thomas doesn't really put up a fight, and through goes Ivo into P13. As the the leaders didn't pit then. They didn't respond to the Leo Racing team going in early. Everyone stayed to their own strategy. So now we have absolutely no idea where they're going to come out, as Gerard actually wants the Bentley.
I mean, that's a good shout, to be fair. The Bentley would be really cool to see.
That'd be different.
I mean, it's big.
Yeah, it's a big boy.
Big. But it doesn't handle like it's big, though. I mean, at least in... I'm not going to mention another service, but...
Yeah, true, yeah.
If you know, you know.
Yeah,
if you know, you know.
Well.
It's actually quite nice to drive.
Yeah, it's almost like it is almost like a Beamer in a way. In the handling aspect, I'd say. But it is quite... Yeah.
I felt like it bit a bit more at the front end.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think the Beamer always feels a little bit sluggish to turn in, but once it does turn in, it's fine. Whereas the Bentley seems like you turn it in and sort of just deal with whatever the rear end does.
Yeah, so a Bentley and a McLaren would be nice to add. That would add a bit more spice to it. And a new Evo, of course. Sorry, Evo. A new Audi. Be good to have add a few more options. Honda. Or the
NSX.
Oh, yes.
The NSX GT3. Give me that mid-engine GT3 that's not an Audi or a Lambo. Please.
Yeah, add a bit more spice. Lambo is slowly falling out, isn't it, I'd say? You don't see them as much these days.
Same with the Audi, I've noticed.
Yeah.
The Audi, obviously, and the Lambo, again, both of them not seeing the love from like their Evo versions in real life and bringing them into the service here. Obviously, they are new, so that's going to play a part of it as we see Hakon finally come into the pit lane. And again, we have another 11 minutes to go of this race. When he comes out, I mean, we're going to see Andre do his thing and go one lap later than everyone else just because he can, I guess.
Yeah, that's what it's becoming now, I think, these days. As soon as you watch one car pit, it's like, well, watch Andre to go again.
Yeah. He almost has, like, just in his mindset, he's like, I don't care what everyone else is doing. I'm going to ask people, like, what sort of stint times are you looking at?
Yeah, what lap time when you pitting, because I'll just go again.
I'll go 1 lap later.
Yeah, that's my target. Whatever, 1 lap
Yeah.
longer than everybody else.
Whatever that ends up looking like. And then Hakon has come out of the pit lane, is in, obviously, well, still in first position. Davide is still quite a long way back, actually. So, I mean, that is an incredible pit stop then from Hakon. I mean, pits, what's that, 4 laps later? Pits for less fuel, quicker on the pit lane entry, and that's your 7-second gap right there.
Oyston's got Luigi as well. He's got him, because he was nowhere near, was he? They were about a good 4 seconds off the back of Davide and Luigi, and Oyston's pitted and got
5-second
Luigi.
pit lane time.
Yeah, he's got him there.
Literally, that's what it does.
Oh, back markers! Woo!
Jeez! Luigi with an incredible
Wow.
save. I mean,
I don't. I don't know how he's. I can't even go back to watch that because there's no incident from it. That's how well he did. But wow. Fair
I mean,
play.
if you've ever tried the Lambo and you've had the Lambo snap on you and you've tried to save it, it ain't easy. That thing is tough to save, but Luigi made that look. I mean, it was scary, but like he made it look like it was, it was under control. He had it, and didn't, and then had it again.
It'll be crucial to the championship as well. That will be because if he had lost it there, points would have fallen. So yeah, that was that's big. That's a big. There's not even an incident, but it's a big moment, Matt. That's the end of this series.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And again, Luigi and Oystein battling for the championship, tied on points coming into the round. Where are they going to finish? Because if you look at it from a point of view of whoever it is that's in front right now, right? So if you look at it at Oystein's point of view, Oystein is like, right, I am, at this moment in time, leading the championship. I led the championship because of the qualifying. Now I'm extending that gap even further. If Luigi is behind me, I cannot let him through under any circumstances whatsoever. I have to fight him like my life depends on it. I have to fight it like I've got some sort of like precious memory on the line, right? Like he needs to just send it everywhere he can. Because if he doesn't, he's going to end up in a situation where he's going to regret not fighting hard enough this circuit in this race.
Do you think he should attack another position or just completely settle here because he's ahead of Luigi? What do you think? More points or just save the ones you got?
If the opportunity arises for him to try and attack Davide, go for it. But keep in mind, Davide is Luigi's teammate. So Davide is going to fight you. He's not going to make it easy. First of all, Davide wants the points. He wants the podium, right? As you all do when you're racing. But not only that, Davide is going to help out his teammate if he fights. So if Davide and Oystein are battling side by side, they're slowing each other down, and who gets involved? Luigi comes up. Allows Davide can just back up Oystein, let Luigi get involved, and all of a sudden, it's all kicking off. Luigi overtakes both of them. Oystein's still sat at the back behind Davide, and now the point swing moves in Luigi's favour. As we see Andre finally come in for the pits. 1 lap later than everyone else.
Nah, he's done
actually,
2.
More.
Yeah, he's proper done it this time. And he's also the last one to take his second stop as well. He's the last pitter completely. He's just, yeah, it's amazing. I'm intrigued to see where he comes out because he was obviously fighting Oystein, so I'm intrigued where he comes out in that fight there.
Yeah, as we've already seen Oystein come through.
Oh, wow,
Andre Wolf is out.
Wow.
So yeah, actually, comes out incredibly close to Davide, actually. So this could be the fight on here for P2. Andre wants P2, obviously. Andre, if he gets P2, he's still in championship contention. He's going to want all the points, especially considering the 2 people behind him, Oystein and Luigi, they're ahead of him in the championship. So if he can get another car between himself and those 2 cars behind him, he's sitting pretty. He's like, right, that sort of 6-point gap that I had coming in, let's get rid of that. I want everything.
Well, if he does get second here, that is the difference. 6 points is the gap between second and fourth in when they get the standing. So, yeah, he'd be obviously with the qualifying points. He'd be with them. He'd be in the mix. It will be very close in the standings if he is able to get Davide here. This is just ties it up even more.
So what I'm hearing is we could potentially see a 3-way fight for the championship in the final round of the season at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, it could be.
We could see a 3-way fight. I mean, that's going to be one to watch, isn't it? Like, that's going to be a fight to watch.
Yeah, this could be good. This could be really good. An hour's worth of racing at Watkins Glen. Well, it's a good circuit. Good circuit to overtake on as well. Good for racing. It's not an easy one either, though. There's parts where you can crash. I've seen it before. I've seen the rate they've done it, I believe, or in another series watching this. I think they've done it there. There's been a few incidents here and there, but you know, it's good racing there, so it could be a very fascinating title decider.
And remind me, is that going to be the Watkins with the bus stop chicane, or is it going to be without?
I believe it's with. I think I might get corrected or told, but I'm pretty certain it's with. I would be surprised if they did without. All the other times they've done Watkins, I believe it's had the bus stop, so I'll wait for confirmation from either Kevin or Gerard, but I believe it will be with.
And that then spices it up even further, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like, if you have to negotiate the bus stop, I've seen it a lot. I've seen it in single-seaters, funnily enough, where people in the W12 have been trying to go for a move up the inside of the bus stop. And to be fair, when the move gets done on the inside of the bus stop, you literally, if you're on the outside, you can't fight that. You have to just say, right, the move's been done. I need to just, like, sit back, say that I got done in that one and try and go again and do it to them next lap, right? And it's going to be the same in these GT cars. There's no way you're going to be going side by side through the bus stop. I mean, they can try and prove me wrong if they want. But I don't think it's going to happen. You're mental.
Yeah, it's going to be... I can't wait. It's the way this is fantastic into the season. If it does end up being a 3-car fight, it's good. Well, we knew coming into this race, obviously, there was a chance of like a good 9 cars could still win, and mathematically, obviously, we'll get rid of a few here, but there's still going to be a lot of actual possibilities. I think top 4 or 5 is still going to be possible to win, so and a lot of cars are going to be wanting to take the last race of the season as well. So it's not even just the championship decider; it's who wants to win the last race of the season. That's always one that you want to do.
You know what would really spice it up? Double points for the final round. Just go mental. Why not?
Yeah, double points and as well as a 2-hour race instead of just a one. Really throw it out there.
Now, why don't make it a 3-hour?
Yeah.
We were look. I want to see more racing. All right, we all want to see more racing. Yeah, so why not? Just throw it out there. See what happens. I'm sure the drivers wouldn't be too happy, but you know. I mean, hey, I would watch that. I don't know about you, but I would watch that.
Oh, I'd have a great time watching that. Yeah, absolutely.
And I will say though, as we've been talking about, let's be honest, quite frankly, nonsense. The racing itself, I mean, Andre is not really putting too much pressure on Davide. He's only going to have, what, where's the leader now on track? Hakon is halfway through this lap, so potentially we're getting 2 more laps. Although...
yeah, I think we get what we get. I think we get 1. Looking at it, we're going to get 1 more, aren't we? So we go on to the last
sorry,
lap
this one plus 1 more, yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, Andre's got the rest of this lap and then the entirety of next lap to try and make that move? Or is Andre actually sitting in that car now and going, you know what? P3 is good. I could push it for P2, but do I want to risk it? You know, do I want to risk potentially having an incident with Andre? And here it is, indeed. You see the flag man up there on the top, waving quite madly. Always entertaining to see. But white flag this time for everybody here at Road America. And again, what a race it's been. I mean, it has been action all the way since lap 1 all the way through until lap 29.
Yeah, it's been fantastic, hasn't it? It's been extremely close. It's not gone... I don't think it's got a... I don't think you could have called it, could you? I don't think the winner's going to be the one that people would have said that was going to win. He's done a good job. He started P4, and he's going to take... He's just done well. It's been a good, interesting strategy calls from a few. Everybody's not done the same thing. Good racing. There's some good side-by-side. A few incidents here and there. Some racing incidents as well. Some spins. It's just everything you want. It's good, and the championship's still going to remain extremely close.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, you know, as we see, I think Andre now has pretty much decided, right, that 7/10 gap is probably, 7 to 8/10 gap is probably a bit too much for one lap. Especially when the last lap time's been so close. I mean, only a 10th quicker was Andre last lap. So I think now he's sort of sitting there and going, right, I've got P3. P3 is still good. I've gained more points than Oystein and Luigi as far as the race is concerned. So, actually, I'm pretty happy with that. Probably could have been a little bit more in terms of, just in general, in terms of, like, maybe you could have underfueled a little, depends on sort of how that fuel looks, but, I mean, shout out to Hakon. I mean, amazing job. Controlled the race when he finally got in the lead, and, yeah. And he's coming through the final couple of corners now, is Hakon, up to the line. And indeed, he knows it. He knows he's won. And indeed, he has, after 1 hour, 29 laps. The number 73 there of Hakon Grebstad has indeed won here at Road America for the Anti-Stall Racing GT3 Season 2. Race number 9 does indeed come through as Davide and Andre come through second and third. Oystein in P4, Luigi there in P5. Lammert there, I believe, does come across the line, or will be, in a second, to take P6. Barry Baltus, Kevin Burke, and Ivo van der Linden there coming home for P12, 13, and 14, respectively. David Contos. Been speaking too much about Davide. David Contos comes home in P7 with Adam Edgecock coming home in P8. And then...
Good race, that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It was an incredible race.
Sounded like there was a lot of action going on. I had a few little battles myself, a few little battles. I know, like you said, there's one net code. There's one where I know it was my fault, so I can't remember his name. I'll apologise to him. I think it was Brandon. Other than that, there's some good racing there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But Rick Hansen does come home in P9 with James Ellis going to be following home in P10. And there he is, coming home in the Mercedes for P10. Rounds out our top 10, but Charles coming home from, I believe, from a pit lane start, was it not?
I believe we should
to take home P11. I know the graph is saying that he only gained 4 positions during the race. I say only 4 positions. 4 positions is still a nice gain, but I believe that's just based on where you qualified. So starting in the pit lane, naturally, he's probably gained a few more.
Everybody, we'll see you next week for the last race, and hopefully.
I know, what a race that was.
About next season as well. Thank you.
What a race. The race, but let's change that to race. Lovely. Why is it not in the points as well? Points that will be added on. I will quickly do that. We normally will line up some interviews as well, but if you want to go through the race order for me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So our race order, we will see Hakon take the win from Davide. Davide obviously finishing in second over Andre Wolf Oystein there in fourth position. Luigi finishing out for P5 with Lama there in P6. David Contos in P7 with Adam Hedgecock in P8, Rick Hansen in P9, James Ellis rounds out our top 10. Then we have Charles Henriksen in P11, Barry Boltus in P12, Kevin Burke P13, Ivan van der Linden finishes in P14, Michael Berry in P15, Martin Brandon P16 with Nick Brewer in P17, and then Richard in P18. Goertz there in P19 with Thomas Notto in P20, and then unfortunately Ryan Martin with that incident that he had finishing in P21. And rounding out our field of today, obviously, Sebastian and Eli not starting the race or qualifying, so that is why we see an extra 2 cars there on the race results.
I will try and get some views as always. I'll try and put them in while I do the championship standings quickly so we know what they are before everybody leaves, but I'll try and drag somebody in. Let's go see who we got waiting.
We do have Hakon Grebstad currently waiting in the wings.
Lovely. I'll bring him down. You can have a quick words with him while I work out who's where.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I'll let you
Hey,
guys do it,
Hakon, great job, mate. I mean, winning here in Road America. I mean, you got to be happy with that, right?
Hell yeah. Obviously. Yeah, finally a race where I don't, screw myself over somehow by, either getting over the limit or speeding in the pit lane or disconnecting, like finally a race that goes well.
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, it looked like it was going to be a pretty tough one, obviously, at the start with, with a couple of people, especially Davide, seeming so quick. I mean, Ryan as well, unfortunately, having that incident earlier on, and then once you sort of got in the lead, that was it, right? You were just gone.
Yeah, Davide seemed like he was pretty quick, and then he had the spin in turn one, and I don't know if I lost, um, I don't know, like confidence in the car, but drop off quite a bit on pace after he had. So yeah, once I got the gap, there was no turning back.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You absolutely crushed it. And, it's really cool to see. Obviously, I'm relatively new to the league, but I mean, that race was one that, I mean, what an introduction, right? And you guys are, I always like to say that you guys are absolutely awesome being like the drivers in the league who, provide all the entertainment for everyone else who's watching. And, you've done an amazing job, put yourself in P1, and that's 55 points taken away, right? So naturally, going to do good for you in the championship standings as far as that's concerned. You were obviously P6 before this. I imagine that possibly changes a little bit as well. So
It might, yeah. I've had the rough going pretty much up until now. I think I won Bathurst, and then all the other races have had something go wrong. Like I said, like they're disconnecting or getting a drive through or whatever. So finally, that didn't happen. Good.
yeah, no, absolutely. And the one thing about the racing is you're you've raced with these guys now for a couple of weeks, right? You've raced with them for quite a few races, and well, the one thing that I always like to know is like, is there anyone before the race that you're looking at and being like, right, I need to keep up with these guys. These are the ones that I need to fight with.
I mean, yeah. Of course, like the top five in qualifying here, I think is like the main competitors for the win. Obviously, things can happen. Stuff gets tossed around, but yeah, the top five guys usually ones you want to be looking at. Yeah, I don't know. They were really quick in quality. I was surprised they weren't faster in the race, to be honest. I wasn't quite able to put in a good quality lap. I had a pretty good one going right at the end, and then the car park on turn in the last corner, so that kind of went south. But doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
I was gonna say we saw that obviously in the final corner. There was a BMW stops on the exit, and I was like, oh, we're seeing two drivers, both very quick, setting purple sectors. Potentially could take the lead of the race. Could take the lead of the qualifying even, and yeah, just those things sort of happen. I guess is that you say it's obviously when it happens, it's quite frustrating, but I mean, you recovered it in the race and took yourself home P1. And before we let you go, is there any sort of final thoughts, any sort of shout outs you want to give?
Well, I gotta shout out Stan for doing this league with me and working with me in qualifying. I was probably tell that we were trying to draft each other a little bit. And worked okay. So thanks to him for working with me on that. And yeah, my team, Big Name Motorsport, for cheering me on, and everyone that's watching.
Yeah, no, absolutely, mate. And sure, we'll try and get you out some champagne and see if you can enjoy that victory champagne.
I'll send you my address, mate.
But yes, mate. I mean, congratulations once again. And hey, maybe next race out, shake up the championship a little bit. Why not appear back on the podium again?
I mean, I'll give it a go. Watkins Glen isn't quite my track, but we'll see how it goes.
Okay, well, you never know, mate. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. And as you say, Watkins Glen being the next track round. I mean, who knows? Maybe you end up in the top three again. But yeah, can't wait to speak to you again. And yeah, we'll see you around.
Yeah, have a good one, mate.
So the championship standings. So
Mhm.
Easton is now winning by 5 points. The gap now to the lead, but
Oof.
second place are joint. So Luigi and Andre are now joint on point to second. 5 points behind Easton.
That pass then, if Andre did get past the other day, that could have made all the difference.
Yeah, he would have been middle of both of them. He would have been 3 more points better off. So he would have been 2 points off of the lead going into it. So it would have been that close. But 5 points between the top 3, 5 points for pole. It could all change again before we even start the next race.
I mean, that's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah, that's absolutely fantastic. That is the winner, obviously, from today is P5 now with a 342. So he is 30 points back from the top. So that is the question. Where do we think the cutoff is from the lead? I would say that no one below 5th now will be able to win. Realistically, mathematically, I think Leon can still win. But you'd say that it's more the race in the top 5 now for the championship. But it is extremely close. Positions have changed all around the standings, as you see, but Ryan Martin's just actually lost out to his teammate Adam, who's passed him in the standings for P7 by 3 points. So whoever gets top honours in that team will come down to the last race. But yeah, extremely close racing today, and the championships a three-way fight realistically. David Contos is there in P4, a little bit off though. Is he? I think he's 12 points off the top. So. And he hasn't won a race yet this season, so we'll see if that goes. But you could say it's more like a 4 or 5-way fight, but it's down to I'd say the top 3, which 5 points are, which is holding.
Yeah, I mean, that's just an absolute madness. The fact that we could have 2 drivers tied on points before the race even starts. And then the fact that even if those 2 are tied on points, they could still both lose out to the third driver involved that's an absolute madness. It really is. It's absolutely bonkers. But we do have Adam as well looking for an interview, so potentially we may want to see if we can get him in here.
Grab Adam, bring him in, tell him that he's now ahead of his teammate in the standings as well.
Yeah, no. And here he is, Adam. Again, mate. To be honest, a race that was pretty tough, it seemed like for yourself, but one that came home with, a relatively decent result. Top 10 at least. So always good to see. How do you feel the race went?
It was one of familiarity of not being quick enough to stick with the top 5 or 6 and being a little bit quicker than the guys behind me. So most of the race was spent on my lonesome again.
Oh,
Yeah, that's the theme of this season. But it's fun enough,
Yeah, so is that sort of you calling out some other drivers and being like, "Hey, next season, can I actually have someone to fight with?"
That's me calling out the whole league. Like, yeah, the fast guys, you need to slow down a little bit, and the guys who are a little bit slower than me, you need to practice more so you're the same pace as me.
I mean, hey, what a way to do it, right? That's how you do it. You gotta throw in some jabs every now and then.
I'm got a big target on my back for the last round. No, it's competitive. Unfortunately, I like the guys in front. They all seem to be on pace with each other and can have good battles. The guys behind are all similar pace, so they have good battles. They're just this little gap that I seem to fill on my own.
But I mean, regardless, it was still a good haul of points for yourself. Unfortunately, your teammate not having the greatest results. But as I say, that does mean that you did overtake him in the championship standings. So finishing currently you're 7th in the championship, 287 points from your teammates, 284. So potentially, is there going to be a little fight between you two?
I'm going to wait a few days before I tell him that, but unfortunately, he's not here for the last race, so it's a done deal already.
Yeah. Oh no! Okay. Well, so in which case then is that you settled as the faster of the two drivers? Is that what you can take away from it?
Sure. Yeah, we'll go with that. And for any potential teams out there listening, I will be a free agent at the end of this season.
Is that getting another Oscar Piastri style situation where you've said a bit too much?
Yeah. Nah, like Ryan's had a real bad streak of luck. Absolutely nailed it for qualifying. Like we tried to choreograph a little bit of drafting for him to get him up with the front guys, and he pulled out an absolute blinder and put it on pole. What a lad!
Yeah, no, absolutely, and it looked like he had the pace to win this race. Does really well in qualifying, as you said, and then sets really good laps off the beginning. Has a little bit of pressure from Davide battling with him near the beginning, but yeah, just again some unfortunate luck, as you mentioned, and hopefully, I mean, you say he's not going to be with us for the final round, but hopefully, if he's with us again next season, then hopefully his luck turns around a little bit. So we're wishing him all the best luck for here in the commentary booth, because let's be honest, we want to see more action.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Yeah, he's good enough to be right up there. If he didn't have the bad luck this season, he would be challenging. I don't think there's any doubt about that. It's just a shame for him. But personally, I don't mind. It means I get to beat him in the championship. Oh, I shouldn't say that too loud, though.
It's fact at least, so you've got that to back you up. But yeah, no, I mean, as you say, mate, it was a race that was a little bit, from your point of view, maybe not the most exciting, but at least you're taking home points. And as I say, for the team's point of view, at least you're putting in the effort when Ryan unfortunately has his unfortunate incidents that ends up meaning he's not finishing the race. But I mean, hey, it's always amazing stuff to see. And before we let you go, Adam. Is there anyone else you sort of want to give a shout out to? Anyone else you want to thank and all that?
Just the league for running the league, you guys for doing the broadcast, the guys at Altitude and our sponsors. God, now I need to try and remember them. Freem, Sim Stickers, Phil Regan, who does our paints. We have me, who does the media for them. I am missing one big one, Acertech. There we go. They're the
Okay,
team
cool.
sponsors. And then my media partners, Finding Speed, SimRace 24/7, World GT, and Altitude. There you go.
Well, there
That's
we
the
go.
list.
That's the list.
That
Quite
is
a
the
lengthy list, to be fair.
It was. I
But
take
hey,
every opportunity now. I've been racing so long and never had anyone to thank other than me mum and dad. So like
yeah, no,
I
it's
take
really
every
cool.
opportunity now to do it.
But I mean, hey, I want to give a massive shout out to the guy who designed your liveries. By the way, that Ferrari is gorgeous.
It's nice, isn't it? Phil Regan is the guy. PR Designs. He does all of our liveries, and they look amazing.
Well, there you go. In case any of you want any sort of livery designs, maybe some custom work in to race yourself and maybe iRacing officials, or why not with us? You know, join us. Come on down. We've got people like Adam, who seems like a nice guy. First time I've met him, but seems like a lovely guy.
Hey, that's me.
But hey, I mean, look, I'm gonna be honest, mate. First time I've been in this league, you guys absolutely smashed it. You put on such a great show, so I want to give a massive shout out to you guys as drivers as well. Like all of you have been absolutely incredible, and hey, I mean, I can't wait to do this more because this is absolutely crazy.
It is, there is a good bunch of guys here. You're right. The racing is generally pretty good and clean as well.
But yeah, mate. I mean, hey, we'll let you get on. I'm sure you've got places to be, you've got people to see, and maybe a debrief with Ryan a bit later. Again, let's not tell him about the championship just yet.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
No worries. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.
And Wes, that's I'll pretty much wrap us up here.
Yeah, that's round 9. Oh, it's incredible, isn't it? Right, we've got a 3-car fight really at the end of this. Round 10, Watkins Glen. Oh, it's all to go for, isn't it? Andre, David. Oh, sorry, not. I'll read the results. It's not exactly the way. It's Luigi versus Hakkinen versus. No, it's not even Hakkinen. Oyston.
Oh, it's
Oyston.
Luigi, Oystein, and Andre.
Yeah, so it's not even. It's mental, is it? The drivers that aren't realistically involved in the standings could have a massive effect on this in the last race of the season. Another hour's worth of racing at Watkins Glen. It's going to be fantastic. Can't wait to see who wins that one. There's also other drivers that aren't here today that could also challenge, like Leon as well. He's fast driver, won 2 races this season, wasn't here today. He could really have an effect on standings at the end of the day. They could all be tied on points going into the actual race itself after qualifying. We don't know. It's going to be absolutely fantastic to see who comes out on top at the end of Watkins Glen.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, before we get off the air, just want to give a massive shout out to everyone here in Anti-Stall Racing. You guys have been absolutely amazing. And as always, we put on this stuff for everyone because that's what we love doing, right? That's our passion. We don't expect anything in return for it, but if you want to get yourself involved, you want to get us, you want to just join in and be a part of the community, then absolutely go ahead and follow us. You can see the Discord link is on the stream for you. So get yourself involved. Come join us. Come join us for the next season, which will be happening. Obviously, we've got our last race. Is that next week? And then, do you know how long it will be before the next season starts, roughly, Wes?
Normally, they do like a week break, or they do like the week 13 things as well. We have some fun races, and then it's a week break, and then we go again. So all the new news about the new seasons is coming out roughly now. So it is probably the best time to jump on the Discord and find out exactly what's going on. There's a bunch of new series coming up for next season. I think there's 3 brand new series coming up, so it's going to be quite a mixed time. A lot of good things seem to be happening, and it's going to be great. I think it's be really intriguing. A few different series than we have currently at the moment. So, not exactly the same cars, especially with the Formula Series. They are, I think, changing a little bit on Mondays and Tuesdays. So they're always intriguing to see. But yeah, all the information should be up shortly, and there's a little bit of time to practice and learn. But I think we have a bit of some fun events going on during a week or 2 break, and then we'll be back again for the next season, which I think will be around 10 or 12 weeks long, I believe.
Well, there we go. You've heard it from the man. it is, we are looking forward to it as always. And yeah, that'll wrap it us from here. Wrap it us from Road America. And I'm still trying to get over that race. That was absolutely mental. The championship fight being so close between 3 cars, the race being so incredible. I mean, it's bonkers. You don't want to miss the last race of the season. That's all I'm saying. But hey, that'll do it from us here at Still Racing. Much love as always. And we'll see you all next week.